Now, very difficult to talk after Monica Peruzzi, but I will do my best to still keep you all, let's say, interested into what we're going to talk through. Welcome everyone. Welcome to this panel, which is devoted to a very current topic, as well as crucial, not only in sports scene, but also in others industries. So we're talking through sports and technology. So how to, let's say, broadcast live sports event all at the same time. So I'm so very excited today that I can explore this very topic, the behind the scenes, so innovative offer, and we'll go through the technology as well as the operations which are making this possible. So taking advantage of many different events, live events at the same time. So we're going to hear from our panelists, which I'm going to introduce in a moment, and we will be exploring not only the challenges that we have come across on our pathway, but also we'll see the opportunities that such top-notch technologies can actually offer. Also, we will see how we can actually implement scalable and resilient solutions, and this is crucial to manage the peaks of traffic and still allow a user experience which is always smooth and successful. Now, without any further ado, I'd love to introduce people next to me. Pierluigi Magliano, Director of CT&I Content Technology and Innovation Italia, Group Origination and Distribution Operations. Next to Pierluigi, Giuseppe Laurita, Lead of Production Application Development. Giuseppe has been in Sky since 2012. He's been dealing with the team of software development as well as integrating the applications that Sky is using to produce content. Davide Gandino, head of group distribution. Davide has been in Sky ever since 2013, and he takes care of the three countries, the Sky three countries, and he's leading the area in cloud-first software transformation. I would love to start with you, Piero. And I have quite a simple question. What is Sky Sport Plus? Well, let's say that we wanted to add plus. You know, the title says it all, to kind of fulfill the trend of the market that we were experiencing, and we were trying to understand how to cope with it. So the content originators were actually showing, you know, greater offer of content, which was delivering this question. How do we manage all of this content? How do we valorize them in a very convenient manner, 360 degrees? Therefore, we have started to consider the possibility to take advantage of this new offer enabled by new technologies in terms of distribution and contents on live events. And we were trying also to understand, kind of deliver a package, valorize it, also in terms of metadata, and of course distribute them in a useful manner. Sky Sport Plus, and Giuseppe and Davide will tell us more about this from a technical standpoint, but I'm actually in charge of the operations piece now. So this is how the product was developed. Can I show you? Can I show you something? Yeah, of course, you can. Okay, here it is. It is a proposition which is fully embedded in the offer we have within Sky Group. And this is important to say, because we have developed, well, it's still work in progress, honestly, and we're still working on some infrastructures so that we can manage it in a sustainable manner in the Sky countries. So it stems from a proposition in the UK, and we're going to see a video which is announcing this proposition that has been integrated in Italy as well. Multi-device, well, of course, goes without saying. Let me show you the video clip so we know what we talk about. How do I start the clip? They will. Okay, thank you.
Amiamo il tennis come te, per questo vogliamo darti sempre di più. Sky Sport Plus, una grande novità inclusa nel tuo abbonamento. Vai sul canale Sky Sport Tennis, premi il tasto verde del telecomando Sky Q o interattività di Sky Glass e scegli quale campo seguire tra tutti i match live dei tornei ATP e WTA di Sky, per non perderti neanche un game.
Ed eccola, la vittoria!
Con il nuovo Sky Sport Plus, il tennis è al tuo servizio.
Okay, so this was the tennis proposition. And, well, this year, it perfectly makes sense, considering the huge success of our Italian players, tennis players. But still, again, we were able to offer content which are coming from all the different venues, from tournaments, tennis tournaments all over the world. How do we manage this? Well, Giuseppe and Davide will dive into this. We're ready to launch it through an offer that was started January, February on Italian platforms. On UK is starting soon, but we're actually ready to start from tennis, and I will not say anything else. Well, perhaps I leave the floor to those speakers. Yes, Giuseppe, you have the floor now. If you want to tell us a bit the way it works. So how about the behind the scenes of Sky Sport Plus? What are the challenges that we've coped with? Thank you. Thank you so much for the floor, and thank you to the sponsors, which allow me to be on this stage today so that I can share this experience. So what is Sky Sport Plus? And what is behind the scenes? Well, there's an architecture, of course, a technology architecture, which is fully integrated, strongly automated, and strongly led by data. And you can see this in the slide. You can see here in the slide. Biggest challenge we had to cope with, I don't know whether to say that it was to make tennis work, or actually it was the scalability. Because as we said, scalability, no doubt has been a big challenge, because we had to reconsider some operational processes that were existing so that we could actually broadcast such a huge number of content, still preserving at the same time same load on our system, and still preserving everything in a more sustainable manner, and always being conscious of costs, of course. Costs were to be kept under control. I was tackling tennis, well, because from an architecture standpoint, from the very beginning, we decided to manage sport events in a very granular manner. What I mean by that is that each match is a 10-8 match, and each football match, as well as camera car from Formula One, and is a single event which has been managed from beginning, so from the right point to the broadcast on final devices, in a complete isolated manner, so-called atomic manner, with respect to other events which are perhaps happening on the same pitch, same competition. We were able to do so thanks to an architecture which is data-driven, as I said, and it's based on cloud. It all comes from the acquisition of sports data, which has been captured, normalized, and of course, this has been kind of a, let's say, we have the possibility, competition by competition, event by event, we have the possibility to decide what platforms, what countries, and what parameters we want to broadcast. And this data is actually driving the whole process, from the technical aspects that allow us to deliver content in the end, up until providing metadata data on devices and apps, so final devices. I'm not saying that this was not the case earlier on, and I mean, this was still existing in the Sky ecosystem, but it was not so much integrated and it was not so much data-driven, you know, because now it really allows, as data is being updated and it becomes more precise, let's say on a tennis match, we're able to say what players are going to play tomorrow, what tennis court. And now this data is being updated, and this is triggering a number of processes which is being updated on apps, which is planning, for instance, the turn on of the galleries, planifying the routing of signals, and basically taking advantage of all the in-cloud resources which are now being managed in a very effective manner, because there's an essential planning behind this, and this is of course what we mean to get at. Well, thank you.
Davide, invece tu parte distribuzione,
Davide,
diciamo,
now, would you tell us what were your challenges from a distribution standpoint? What were the challenges that you were coping with? Well, first of all, there has this big opportunity to actually take advantage of the contents that we had the rights of, and because we were only broadcasting most important events and matches on front channels. And so through this solution, we're now able to manage more contents. Top contents, of course, are still on our front channels, and they're still being handled through the front touch that we spoke about with Vincenzo. This is more perhaps to supply a 360-degree experience, more of a broader experience for those people who are supporting very specific sports. We started from camera card, Formula One, February 2023, when we started to offer the possibility to our users to actually access via IP to camera car. So the possibility to see Hamilton, Leclerc, whilst they're driving their car, literally. And then we were actually managing 25 streamings on a parallel, and we were doing a step forward. We were also acquiring all of the rights so that we could actually deliver all the matches, not just the subset, which was only focused on Italian players, top players, whereas now we can show them all.
So of course the users will make a decision. Now this is a major change, and the main challenge was to guarantee efficiency, let's say from the operational point of view, but also from the financial point of view. By operations, I mean, we had to deal with so many rights. So we had to find a solution so as to have, a sustainable, if you will, use of rights. So looking for automated solutions in order to avoid, the scale out of people. So we just needed to manage all the data automatically for the on-premise resources, because of course many of the things we do are still on-premise. So we have to manage, the booking of resources and the configuration of resources. Then we have the decommissioning at the end of the event. As for the cloud resources, as Giuseppe said, we did, and we're still using, cloud so heavily because we have to manage peaks. Just think of a Formula One session where we have 20 channels on, and then 2 hours later the 20 channels are no longer necessary. So we just have to deploy cloud resources. We have to configure the same resources for the duration of the event, but then soon afterwards we have to cancel. We have to erase everything. And this means cost effectiveness. Now, in terms of CO2 emissions, we can really be very effective. And I'm sure that this has to do with our strategy or our ambition. Sky Zero, this is one of the most important features here in the Sky, because what we want is to reduce our CO2 emissions as much as we can. And this is what we wanted to do. I mean, the keyword, the buzzword was effectiveness. Now, we didn't have to start from scratch, because in the past we used the very dynamic use cases. For example, Sky Germany, on the satellite there, we manage, the dynamics of the lineup. We have the sport lineup and the Bundesliga. So we started, from that, sort of starting point. Now we have the master control room. It controls all of the inbound signals from various venues. All of this was done very manually, while all of this is automatic today. This means we can manage metadata, and by this, I mean the so-called work order, which is all the metadata guiding all of the downstream configurations. We receive the work order, and then automatically all the systems are configured so that end users can take advantage of the contents on the channel. And Davide, there's more than this, because metadata is steadily updated, and it updates the system. Back to the previous example, I mean tennis. If you have a tennis match which is, shifted from one court to a different court, well, this means that, we also have to shift the encoders to use, and we have to update the entire chain. It was much more manual, right, much more complicated and cumbersome, time-consuming. Now, tennis, by the way, is one of the most complicated sport events. There may be interruptions because of the rain. So, Formula One or football, I mean, more or less, you know how long the match or the race will be, while, tennis can change a lot, from 1 hour to maybe 4, 5 hours, who knows. Now, because I talked about cloud, of course, we need redundant architectures. We need different regions of WBS, and there we have, so on one deployment, there may be problems, but then we have the same time system, a sort of a backup, so end users don't even realize that there was a problem. And this is what we do for the major events. So this is an incredible efficiency, effectiveness, but also innovation, because we have so many new contents that we didn't have on front channels earlier. Now they can be broadcast sustainably, provided they have a reasonable cost. Excellent, Pierluigi. Back to you. Now our operations background is always on the move and always interesting to talk about this. So did we have to go through some special changes that we have to again implement in our operational model? Well, we are now experiencing a brand new mindset, because now we have to manage an end-to-end system. Now, traditionally, it included many different areas. I mean, physical, segregated areas, but then all of this is being completely re-engineered. So that was the big challenge to take up. We spoke to many departments in order to really create a new art direction of the entire event. Now we have the so-called multi-level approach in order to manage events in a very effective way, but at the same time we still have some constraints. So to cut the story short, we now have a new operating model. In just one single environment, we have the possibility to manage, the work order, and by the way, we can control the process. So again, we receive the WOs, the work order, and then all the rest of the chain, for example, technical, editorial metadata, together with the presentation part of the event concerning the app, if you will, or many other products into the Sky platform bouquet. So we have new thoughts and new frontiers, so to say, and even new boundaries. We have centralized all of these efforts with a specific operating team in one of the countries of Sky in London, able to manage and control events on behalf of the rest of the group. So a major challenge. You're right, a big one. Now, from the operating point of view, this is what we've been working on as engineers in order to enable this transformation. We had to So in case of problems, we needed to really understand what the problem is. So a multi-box system, instead of, allocating resources just to make sure everything was configured harmoniously. So we decided, I mean, to look into this and scaling up or doing manual actions in order to fix problems. That was another big shift. Now, typically, this is what we do, but in this case, we had to push quite a lot because, again, we wanted to improve effectiveness. The fact of working together, I mean, in the same venue, and so the question was, how can we really start from scratch? I mean, again, we have to work together, so we have the technical part plus the operations. It was possible to revise, I mean, intervention logics and operating functional principles. Now, this was a big help in hand. Also in terms of products, because when we met, we sort of, climbed all the way up into the scale of architecture, if you will, a sort of a ladder, and there were so many contents. We needed metadata, images, pictures, the dynamics, so what we want to show and what cannot be shown. Anyway, we are sort of, we've moved upward or upstream so that we couldn't miss anything of the needs of end users. And again, that was a nice experience. Let me check if we may have questions from the audience, some personal curiosity. Don't be shy. Well, I have to say that, trying to offer or even create new products, which is what Vincenzo said before, especially when the offering is huge altogether. Well, it's a challenge, as we said before, but once again, this is one of the possible, ways to offer good quality products. If there are no questions, I think we can continue. I realize there was no breaks between the various panels, so it may be a little, difficult. So, but anyway, we will, stand up and do some stretching in a few minutes. Well, once again, if there are no other curiosities, well, thank you so much.